And welcome, YouTube crew. Looks like we are live. So, congratulations on realizing the channel exists. It's just the Smash News Network, least busted name in news. Coming at you early morning here. And it's about the same time we've been streaming. If you haven't seen previous streams, maybe check them out. Also, check out our shorts. They've been blowing up for a couple of years now. So yeah, let's talk about cross training. That's a thing. If you aren't cross training, if you don't have a necessity to cross train, you're probably not on top form. Did you know that? Yeah, because you get burned out on a thing both mentally and physically if you do it too much. So if you're riding 8,000 miles a year on your bike or something like that, there might be some advantages to doing some things besides cycling. So that's what the title's about. Of course, this live stream will cover the stuff that we cover daily on our live streams. So there we go. That's pretty good. So I just figured I would talk about that. And this morning, a leisurely stroll was my cross training, and it was a delight. Pink sky and morning. I think it's Canadian smoke, and it doesn't really pose any sort of a warning. I love a nice smoky sunrise or sunset. So, burn Canada, burn. Just kidding, folks. Of course, I love Canada. I don't want to see forests go up in flames, but sometimes going up in flames is the best thing for a situation because it allows us to build anew, right? By the way, leave a comment if there are any news stories on which you'd like me to comment, and I'll consider it. By the way, if you're trying to improve your fitness, here's a tip for everybody. If you're trying to improve your fitness, you want to get yourself on, top form or something like that. Your personal top form or whatever. Do you get really good sleep every night? Like every night? Do you sleep like 7 to 10 hours, like 7, 8 hours? Like, if not, that should be your first priority. Because your fitness will not max out unless you're able to sort of get recovery, right? Because you have to get deep sleep in order to get proper recovery. Not just REM sleep. You got to have light sleep to REM sleep, and then from REM sleep you go into deep sleep. It's critical, and in fact, REM sleep is critical to your memory. So here's how memory works, folks. In order for a memory to become a long-term memory, it has to become a short-term memory first, obviously. But then you got to sleep on it. If you do not get REM sleep, your short-term memories will not properly encode to long-term memory. This is a known thing. It's been known since the 1980s at the very latest. That's just how it works. Because we've known about sleep cycles for a long, long time. And I mean, I seem to recall reading about 80 pages out of Encyclopedia Britannica in the 1980s about sleep and dreaming. And most of that is still completely clinically relevant to this day. All right, what do we have here? What do we have? We've got some dudes leaving comments, and thanks to everybody who has. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to press the subscribe button. Otherwise, you'll miss content. And we do a lot more than morning live streams. Hi, 2Game. And, of course, Ethan Dingle. You're fat? Well, I mean, you can reduce that, right? So here's one way to do it without even exercising. I'm doing it today. Normally, when I do these streams, I'm cooking eggs and eating carbs and stuff because I've just completed a bike ride, sometimes at very high intensities. Today, not. Today, I'm intermittently fasting, so no calories. I chugged some water. I took a bunch of supplements that I need, which I only take as needed. I don't take them like every day, but certain supplements I'm constantly taking. And just black coffee, no sugar, no milk. And I should actually do a little shot of olive oil, because it never hurts to have some additional omega-3s. So I'm going to break out some olive oil and take a sip. Consuming fats while you're intermittently fasting helps your body to realize that it can burn fat as fuel. So now, of course, somebody like me, my body is all too aware of this, because fat is what you use to get to low intensity exercise. So most of the time that we spend on the bicycle, we're actually riding slowly, at which point we're just a fat burning machine. So that's part of the reason why cyclists have a tendency to be rather thin, because we don't need extra fat, right? It hinders us from going uphill. But this is the idea behind bulletproof coffee, if you've ever heard of that. This concept of placing butter in your coffee, because that's fatty and it's pretty good for you, especially if it's like, organic range-fed, organic grass-fed beef butter, like Kerrygold, or those like good brands that everybody likes. That'll sort of help to turn on your fat burning engine. But you have to get your blood sugar very low in order for that to sort of kick in. But on days that I don't exercise hard, I typically do an intermittent fast of like 16 hours. And when I do that, I don't need lunch. When I ride in the morning, it's usually only a half an hour ride. And it's at varying intensities depending on training requirements. But when I do ride in the morning, I got to eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner, because I go into ultra calorie burning mode. And ultimately, what happens is if you're deprived after exercise, then your cortisol levels are going to spike. So you don't want to try to like starve yourself and like work out super hard. You have to consume carbs after hard efforts to replace muscle glycogen. That prevents a more lengthy metabolic cycle that would happen, if you didn't replace muscle glycogen in about a half an hour window after the hard, intense efforts. This is part of the reason why people are getting faster and faster right now, is because of carb intake. So carbs have been demonized. A lot of people are like, I don't consume any carbs ever. Okay, but you're not gonna get to top fitness if you don't push yourself to high intensities. So that's the point. But look, not everybody needs to get to high intensities, right? Some people, their goal is to just be able to, do a lot of mileage or something like that, right? There are plenty of people out there that just want to ride greater distances. They don't care how fast they go, and that's great. I totally encourage any sort of a thing like that, because that's a super high level of skill. Being able to not be at a high intensity and do like a 50-mile bike ride is pretty serious. I mean, I learned how to do about a 40-miler on 0 calories back in around 2018 or so. That was when I realized that I could do long rides on 0 calories. In 2014, I already started messing around with it. But anyway, that's not done very much now. For the most part, I will ride on carbs. And in fact, I put a bunch of regular old table sugar in my water bottles. So 4 big teaspoons of table sugar, half a teaspoon of iodized salt, and some lemon or lime juice in there for a little bit of flavoring. And that is a spectacular energy drink. I mean, that's part of your caloric intake. And if you want to ride at the level of the guys in the Tour de France, you got to consume about 100 grams of carbs every hour. So that's like 3 Cokes. 3 Cokes every hour. It's not really that much when you're riding that hard. And it's not dangerous to you to do this, folks. The problem with sugar is if you have it spiked in your bloodstream for extended periods of time while you're sedentary. That's the problem. The issue is too much blood sugar while you're not burning the sugar. So, have an ice cream on your bike ride. The fat is actually going to slow down the digestion of that ice cream. So for maximum performance, you don't want to consume any fat or fiber. You want to just consume pure sugar while you're doing intense efforts, because it gets into your bloodstream readily. All right, the more of a matrix you have with your sugar while doing intense workouts, the slower it's going to digest. So fiber, it could upset your stomach. And look, there's a conditioning process to this too. If you just decide that you're going to just chug 3 Cokes the next time you do a 1 hour bike ride, um, it might upset your stomach, okay? Because the Brix number for the Brix is a measure of the amount of sugar in an aqueous solution, like your water bottle. And if you have, there's only a certain amount that you're going to be able to tolerate, especially when you're like, if you're like full gas. Um, there's only so much sugar you'll be able to tolerate, and you might hurl if you have too much. So there is like a process. You have to like train your gut to be able to handle that. And the lime juice actually helps with the absorption, I think. So especially fresh lime juice, there is, I believe it's sodium citrate occurs in the lime peel or something like that. It's in the lime oil. So especially if you use fresh lime. And do we have more comments here? What do we have? Oh yeah, Timawate says, how many miles biking today? 0 miles today, I think. I mean, I might do a little ride on lunch, but it'd be like a 5 miler, so almost nothing. And then tomorrow I might not ride at all. I think I'm going to do a very difficult trail run where I do a 1.75 mile run straight up a mountain on an off-road mountain bike trail that's all full of rocks and very steep sections, and then run back down. So a 3.5 mile, not fast, but a 3.5 mile run. And why? Because cross training, okay? Both last year and this year have correlated with my highest max wattage ever put out on the bike. And running occurred like a couple days before that, both last November and this September. So I just recently put up the highest power numbers that I've ever put up, and it wasn't even on a full sprinting effort. So next stop, 1600 watts, I guess, folks. Like, you can follow me on Instagram. You'll see a bunch of motivational stuff on there, reminding you to like do the thing, right? So that's the thing, right? Like, what you have to do, folks, the way to fix your fitness, if your sleep is already good, is do one thing. Just do one thing that's going to advance your health or your fitness. They're all related, all right? So like the reason cyclists that are 80 years old look like they're 52 years old is because of all of this stuff being related. I mean, I saw a guy the other day who was I think he was a U.S. national track champion on the way to go to Worlds. And he's like a local rider from Lehigh Valley, I think. He definitely rides for the local team, Edge Cycling, one of the great teams in the area. And this guy's 80 plus, and he looks like he's like 45. I mean, it's bonkers. And there are thousands and thousands of riders in this area who are like that. The average age of the club riders in the club that I ride for, it's called the Lehigh Valley Cycling Club, is 67. 67 is the average age. So that means half of the club riders are older. I should say it's the median age. But that's what the guy meant when he told me that, okay? The VP of touring. He said, yeah, 67. That's the median age. Cheers. So, I mean, people are living super long, folks. Don't die, all right? Look at this. We actually have more likes than viewers at the moment. So thanks for that, everybody who's pressed like. But like, this is the thing. And the longevity movement is all tied in with the wholesome movement, which is like, it's so good. So yeah. Red light therapy. Good God, red light therapy. If you don't have any, I messed my neck up. About pushing 2 months ago, I messed up my neck. And besides strengthening the front of my neck, because I messed up the back of my neck by trying to do a pull-up. But the red light therapy has really been helpful for that. Any kind of an injury that you have, folks, get some red light on it. Typically, you're going to have two wavelengths. I believe it's 880 nanometers and 650 nanometers. And yo, it speeds up your ATP engine. All right, I'll just say that. Like, look up the ATP engine. It typically spins at about 1700 RPMs, and it's an incredible metabolic process that is responsible for all energy usage in all life. So, for example, your muscles have a lot of mitochondria. That's why they're able to utilize so much energy and do so much work, as we say in science. And, as a result of this, there's a lot of ATP engines turning in your muscles. So if you do a hard workout and your muscles are sore, red light will speed up your recovery time. Did you get that? Red light will speed up your recovery time. It's pretty serious. Literally any kind of injury that you have, the one wavelength penetrates deeply enough into the skin that you may very well be able to treat it by putting something on the surface. So think about that. Treating internal problems by shining light on it from the surface. It's pretty serious. This is not pseudoscience, folks. ATP engine. Red light, the light itself affects the way the protons and electrons interact with each other. We're talking subatomic level activity here from a $30 thing. So the next time you have an injury, buy the thing and let us know what your results are. Come to the channel, come to the Discord chat, or hit us up on social media. We're pretty easy to find. We're only on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, pretty easy to find. And let us know what your results are. Like, this is not a thing that your general practitioner is going to tell you to do typically, because how many pharmaceuticals does it require? I mean, I'm pretty sure everybody knows how many pharmaceuticals red light requires, right? How many drug commission kickbacks occur when you buy some LEDs and place them on your skin? Let me tell you one of the best home remedies that most people don't know about. You ever get a sore throat or a toothache? You ever have that happen? So this is not medical advice. This information is for novelty purposes only. Your mouth has a tendency to become acidic. When your mouth is acidic, you ever drink orange juice in the morning and you have a sour taste in your mouth all day? That is your teeth rotting and you getting gingivitis. You have to curtail that. And it's so easy to do. I don't know why nobody does it. So sore throats, toothaches, gingivitis, these things are all caused by an acidic environment in your oral biome. Okay? Your oral biome, if it gets acidic, it's going to lead to all of the nasty miscreants that will cause tooth decay, gingivitis, and also things like strep throat, staph throat, and so forth. If you gargle with an alkaline powder, like a mixture of kosher salt and baking soda, 1 part kosher salt, 1 part baking soda, it will alkalize your mouth, creating an environment where none of those harmful bacteria and fungi can survive. So mix up some of that, put it in a pharmaceutical bottle, get a bottle like this. Get a bottle like this bottle here that has a flip top on it, and fill that with 1 part kosher salt and 1 part baking soda. Fill half with kosher salt, the other half with baking soda, mix it up, and then take some of this, put it in your hand, put it in your mouth, put some water in there, and then swirl it around in your mouth for a minute or two and gargle with it. and you'll magically have the fresh, your mouth will taste as fresh as the ocean breeze. And like, this costs 50 cents to make this, right? It's a thing of kosher salt and a thing of baking soda. I'm not going to earn a kickback from this. I'm not going to try to sell you, I'm not going to try to sell you the most expensive and amazing Himalayan pink salt, although that's kind of a good idea. But yeah, that, like, alkalize your mouth. Okay, the reason getting bitten by a person is very dangerous is because the same bacteria that is in your gut, if you vomit, right, the bacteria from your gut is now in your mouth, and it's very harmful. It's like look at the, if you've ever taken probiotics, look at the names of the bacteria that are in there. Some of them are pretty, like, they, I'm not saying your gut bacteria is harmful outside of your gut, but it is possible, okay? And the stuff that grows in your mouth absolutely can be harmful. This is why getting bitten by humans is so unhealthy, right? If you get bitten by a human, you got to wash out the wound rapidly. And that's because of what's in your mouth biome. If you have an alkaline environment, most of the things that are going to cause, like, skin infections are not even going to be there in the first place, because you want to keep your gut acidic and your mouth alkaline. So don't eat Tums. You can chew Tums, but then spit it out. Don't swallow Tums. Don't, like, drink baking soda, because that alkalizes your gut. Your gut should be acidic because that's what the gut biome requires. And of course, your stomach puts out hydrochloric acid. You want an alkalized mouth and an acidic gut. So yeah, some consumer tips there that we don't always give out on the channel, but sometimes people ask health and wellness questions, and, like, they need the appropriate answers so that they can their lives. It's often much easier than you think, folks. So, but in the meantime, don't die. That's like, follow Brian Johnson, because Brian Johnson is incredible, and he's doing research that you would probably do if you were a billionaire. I mean, wouldn't you try to live as long as possible if you had billions of dollars? Of course, the first thing you do if you have billions of dollars is you don't tell anybody. Am I right? All right, anyway, let me read the chats here, and we'll talk the normal stuff we talk about in these morning live streams. Yeah, Team Nawate, this is decades of experience as a bike racer here. So I started bike racing in 1997, pro mountain bike 1999, hit by a truck later that year, missed the 2000 season as a result of a fractured tibia. 2001 was my road debut as a time trial specialist, and I've been a time trial specialist ever since 2001. That's been my focus. I did start racing track in about 2003, I want to say. So timed events on the track, the bikes with the aero bars and so on, that's my thing. So making a bike go very, very fast over very specific distances, that's what I do. I can go uphill really fast, but that is all a function of fitness. I'm not a good climber. I'm a trash climber. I can cultivate the skill a little bit, but I have to be at a certain mass, about 170 pounds, in order to be really fast at the events that I have to be fast in. I have to be able to push enough air. So I have to have enough muscle to be able to do that. And what's crazy is I can now put out more power at 170 pounds than I could at 190 pounds. So at 170, I'm putting out 1,200 watts. At 190, I was only putting out 1,100 watts. So yeah, next stop is 1,600. I gave myself the pro treatment 2 seasons in a row. So 2024, I rode like a pro. And 2025, I rode like a pro who has a day job, if that makes sense. But my day job pays me to ride a bike, so there's some flexibility there. And like, believe me, folks, if you do all the things, all the marginal gains that GCN and Bulletproof Cycling and all the other great cycling channels out there are telling you to do to get faster, if you do all the things, you'll get faster, a lot faster, especially if you're patient enough to wait 5 weeks for major gains to take place. I mean, you should see my VO2 max graph. Go look at my Instagram stories. My VO2 max is like this over 6 months. It's just, it just keeps going up. And like, I've just been kind of static at 170 pounds here for the past, like, about a month. And, that means that's probably my race weight. I mean, I did a hilly one. I did a hilly ride, a hilly 40 miler, this past Saturday, and I ended up with a 19.5 mile per hour average speed without really trying to ride for average speed. I was basically just trying to get done. I mean, I got stuck in no man's land because I rode off the back of the lead group, and then it was just Craig Phillips and me were just chilling there. And I mean, I stepped on the gas a little bit because I want to make it back, but I wasn't like trying to kill myself because the next day I was doing a bunch of running. So, yeah, but I mean, cross training, like back to the cross training, it's if you don't have to cross train, you're probably not on top form. Like, it doesn't matter what it is. It could be like playing tennis, lifting weights, running, kayaking, like whatever. But typically, cross training is necessary. I mean, the top, like Jasper Philipsen, I remember watching him last year before the Tour de France. Jasper Philipsen is one of the top sprinters in the world. And he's from Belgium. He rides for Alpecin de Koenig. They're hair dopers. they cheat with their hair. And, there were some, when he was at altitude camp, there were some Instagram posts of Jasper like running around on the mountain, just like running, no bike. So yeah, that's one of my life goals is doing more bike rides where I leave the bikes at home. Bike rides on foot. Yeah, and I picked up a new sport just last Sunday, or this previous Sunday. I picked up a new sport, which I'll talk about it later. I'll promote a specific hash house, but that's the only hint that I'll give you at the moment, because there are some interesting events coming up that will be covered on the channel. Interesting events involving wearing pink dresses. Yeah, it's a thing. So let's talk news. I mean, what do you got? Like, you got news stories? You want me to cover something? You got nonsense on social media you want to talk about? You got social commentary that I'm going to refuse to give? What do you want? What's your preference? I'm going to actually put this on a different stand here because it might not look as cool, but it's going to be more convenient. There we go. That's not too bad. All right, YouTube. Thanks for joining me on a news crawl. How's that? That's not too bad. News crawl time. Again, if you have stories, put them in the comments. And if you're viewing in syndication, make sure you leave a comment and press share. Press that share button, y'all. All right, what do we have? Let's talk financial news. Pre-market trading is a thing. Looks like the Dow, NASDAQ, and S&P are all marginally down. The Dow's down 110. The S&P down 8.5 and the NASDAQ down 1.5. So they're all just marginally down here. What do we have? Let's see. There's a new richest man about to emerge due to Oracle. So the Fed decision looms. Will the Fed lower interest rates? I say yes. I thought the Fed would lower interest rates last time. Is the Fed going to lower interest rates today? I would say so. I would say yes, the Fed will lower interest rates. So yeah, I mean, the fact that my forecast the last time, I just don't think they can continue kicking the can down the road, because the Fed doesn't want to be at odds with Trump, I think. So, I mean, what would you think if you were Jerome Powell or the actual Fed board members? You'd be like, oh man, maybe we ought to appease Trump. I'm not sure. So it's interesting, but I think the Fed will lower interest rates. And don't get me started on capitalism, because we don't have that. We don't have capitalism, not in the U.S. Not any place that has a central bank. All right, so Oracle's actually down 6.2%. Netflix getting hammered too, and Boeing. Big losers. Yeah, Oracle down 6.2%. What's up with that? Is there news? Oh, because it's profit taking after the sharpest rally in 30 years. Geez. Yeah, it's profit taking. This is what smart people do. When we invest and we have a 30% gain on a thing over a short term, especially, we cut back on that holding a little bit and take some profits and look for the next dip and then buy back in. Like that's that's how you do a long position. So that's all it was. It's totally irrelevant. It's a regular old everyday bounce. So yeah, Oracle there having carried the NASDAQ as it's big. Anyway, we have gold reaching new highs as well here. What do we got? Gold is up to 36.88. 36.88 for gold. So gold is actual money. Alan Greenspan would tend to agree. Even when Alan Greenspan worked for the Fed, he would sort of have to concede the fact that gold is money and currency is only worth what folks claim it is. Oil's at $63. Wow, oil has majorly jumped here since I looked last. What is up with that? I thought it was like, oh, all right, it's not that high. I thought it was only like $44. That's weird. It hasn't been that low in ages. All right, maybe I was thinking of something else. Anyway, silver is still at $42.88. That's pretty high for silver too. Is that a new high for silver? Is that an all-time high for silver? I think that's an all-time high for silver. Previous all-time high was only $38 back in 2011. That doesn't sound right. The hell? Their data only goes back to 2006? You're out of here. All right, what do we have in comments here? I apologize if I haven't gotten to your comments. I think I answered your question about my riding career. Yeah, I was only riding thousands of miles a year starting in 97. I probably didn't even do 1,000 miles in 97 because I was, riding a lot of mountain bike, which doesn't require nearly as much mileage as riding road. But I, of course, rode the whole time because I like riding to work and things. So 97 is when I started bike racing. My first race ever was a second place, and it included haters. It included an official who said I was sandbagging at my first ever race. Well, thanks to everybody who's pressed subscribe. Hi, Jack, Carl, and oh geez, not autocorrect. So the weather up here, Dennis, is late summer gorgeousness. There's not a cloud in the sky. We had a pink sunrise this morning. I think it's because of wildfire smoke, and goodness graciousness. Is it great? I mean, it's amazing. Yeah, I think there's wildfire smoke. So it's pink sky in morning. I think it's not a warning. Salmon sky in morning. I'm jamming and endorsing Corning glass products. Hey, Troll McClure. Thanks for joining us. Yeah, thanks for asking, Dennis. The weather is almost too beautiful to even describe. Like, you just have to check it out. Vacation in Lehigh Valley in the fall. You know, it is bonkers. The cool evenings and the nighttime markets, and oh my gosh, it's amazing. Yeah, that autocorrect stuff is, the software on your smartphone is so busted, so busted, it's barely functional. I mean, the state of software right now it's unbelievable. Like, a software keyboard is one of the dumbest ideas in the history of mankind. A software keyboard. You got to rely on software to be able to type? Who thought this was a smart idea? It's a terrible idea. On-screen keyboards? That shit is for the birds. It is one of the worst ideas in software history. You want a thing that's not physical buttons? So you can get, like, key press lag on your keyboard? That is so unacceptable. I mean, but then again, Google is so unacceptable, and most people run Android. More computers right now run Android than anything else. There are like 4 billion Androids running right now or something. It's bonkers. And like 1 billion of those are Chinese bot farm Androids. Isn't that great? Yeah. Shout out to bot farms. Literally a room with a wall of actual phones on the wall. Yeah, that's a thing. It's nuts. Oh, geez. All right, well, I hope you're feeling better, Robert. Congratulations on getting out of the hospital, because those places are not places to stay. Like, if you're in one, get out of one as soon as possible. They correlate with death. Death, I tell you. They kill people in those places through all kinds of inadvertent mistakes. It's incompetence. It's not a conspiracy. Never blame a conspiracy on that which is more likely attributable to stupidity and incompetence and ignorance. Like, those are the causes of practically all problems. Like, assuming that there's a Depop agenda in most people is just ridiculous. I mean, most people aren't into eating babies. Most people aren't into the apocalypse. Most people aren't trying to destroy the universe. Like, these are all things that we typically don't like. So, you know, most people are sort of on board with the same stuff and not on board with certain other stuff. How does dude's face not match his body or clothing style? Because I look like a goblin, that's why. Yes. I have very thick skin. I've done too many face plants. I've been hit by a shovel one too many times. That's why. Oh, so the alien shirt says, no signs of intelligent life anywhere. That's what the alien shirt says. No signs of intelligent life anywhere. Are you surrounded by morons? Incompetent people who can't do their own fucking jobs? Yeah. So many of us are surrounded by utter cretins who cannot do their own job. Some of them even might want to tell you how to do yours. Let us know in the comments if you've experienced this anomaly. Like, how many times have you called someplace and just gotten complete incompetence? Like, you ask a question and you don't even get the answer. So, looks like a manhunt going on across the U.S. for some famous sniper. I can't see how he's going to escape. You know what I mean? There's only like 6 million people looking for this dude. We'll just not even cover any more news stories and move on. Talking about, let's close out, let's do space weather now and close out with Earth weather. Is that okay? I hope it's okay, because this is a dictatorship. This is not a democracy or an oligarchy or a monarchy or anything like that. It's a straight up dictatorship. Smash Staff has no say in anything. Smash Staff can barely respond to a Discord message. So, you fired. Okay. Fired. Let me turn on some lights so I look less like a Joule. I'm a Joule, actually. So I might look like a goblin, but I'm actually a Joule. So if you don't know what that is, it's spelled Z-H-O-U-L. Joule. And it means half ghoul and part zombie and part ghoul. That's what a Joule is. Z-H-O-U-L. Feel free to, post a definition of this on social media if you like. It's a word that I made up a little while ago, and if you don't make up words, why not? It's so refreshing to hear a well-read randomly on YouTube. Yeah, well, thanks. I've spent a lot of time cultivating a lot of skill, talent, and training. So, like, I know a lot of things, and I'm even willing to share them. So ashwagandha, I don't really like it. It hits me really hard. So if I take a regular dosage, it knocks me out. I'm a super lightweight. So any kind of like drugs, alcohol, I am hammered by that. So like a couple molecules out of place and I'm out. So ashwagandha, yeah, it might relax some people. And I'm super hyperactive. I mean, like, if you think you know anybody less patient than me, good luck. Send them on a bike ride with me, and I'll show them how patient I am. So, like, yeah, I'm a super lightweight. If I drink 2 beers, I might be unconscious half an hour later. Ashwagandha hammers me and it knocks me out. Same thing with Smash Staff. Like, we tried it one time. My mom's like, try this. And we're like, okay. And we tried it and we're like, 2 hours later, we wake up, where am I? And then we did it again, and we're like, this might work as a sleeping pill, but I don't know if it causes good sleep. I should test it out, like for actual sleep. But that's all I would use it for, because it knocks me out. Doesn't seem to do any damage, I guess, but knocks me the hell out. Kathy Roll says I suck at climbing. Kathy, you need to be able to get out of the saddle to be able to climb effectively. That's an issue. Like, you need to get a bike fit or something. Hey, Jeffrey, thanks everybody who's pressed like, subscribe, etc. These morning live streams, they've been extremely popular and extremely amusing. So thanks to everybody who's tuned in for that, because these have helped to revitalize the channel and help to steer it in the direction of talking about space weather. So do we have any CMEs on the way to Earth right now? The answer is no, but we have a coronal hole high-speed stream about to arrive at any moment. In fact, it's probably arriving now. But, oh, that's right, I'm going to cover Earth weather first. So the U.S., I think it's pretty smoky, but let me just check. Geez, it's not really very smoky. Uh, as far as radar goes, we got some heavy weather across northern Minnesota and North Dakota. Besides that, uh, some precipitation there east of Denver and southern Florida. Also, Montana's got some scattered showers. I don't need to cover any of that. That's all pretty chill type stuff right there. And let me check the Saharan dust situation. We may be having Saharan dust here. I just want to see if I can find some data to correlate with my pink sky this morning because it was not caused by humidity. There's something in the atmosphere. I think it's particulate. Let's see what's going on with the Duex. So here's the Duex. I'll show that to you real quick. So there's nullschool.net's particulates. And look at there's dust all over the southern Atlantic, or you could say the central Atlantic, and a lot more to come there. So Saharan dust is quite significant at the moment. So there's that, but it's not really getting here. I don't know. I suspect it's probably smoke. There may be some local wildfires that are closer to here, but it doesn't look like there's a whole lot of Canadian smoke at the moment. And so let's move on to space weather real quick, because this stream's got to end soon. So if you've got any comments, leave them. I will try to get to the bottom of those. Of course, we can't respond to every comment, but I will try to get to most of them. Hey, welcome, Bruce, our favorite Brazilian. Bruce, you got to bring more Brazilians, because some of them might be cooler than you are. I don't know if they'll have the same bat skills as you have, but so Jeffrey, I used to race mountain bikes, but I retired from that in 2001. So I was just about to switch over to road at the end of 1999. I got hit by a truck on November 12th, and I missed the 2000 season as a result. So I had to get the show on the road and become a time trial specialist as planned. So yeah, I still ride mountain bike and gravel. I have my mountain bike set up as gravel, and my technical skills are good enough that I can ride my gravel bike on full single track. Anything, any mountain bikeable terrain, I can ride on my gravel bike, which is just my converted cross-country race bike. Now I only ride road and track, but I'm a time trial specialist, so I am paid to ride bikes. And 2026 will be a hell of a year. So if you're into cycling, definitely subscribe to the channel. There's going to be more and more stuff. Kathy, you want me to talk aliens? All right, I'll talk aliens. I don't believe in them. I don't know of any solid evidence of them. And until I see some, I don't believe in extraterrestrials. I think that the technology that we see, all the funky stuff, all the funky videos, it's all human technology. Maybe it's even ancient human technology. Who knows? The human species could be much older than people actually believe. So that's my stance on aliens, is I don't believe in them. And until I see compelling evidence of it, I don't believe in them. Like all of the stuff you see doing weird, unnatural things, it's done by humans. When in doubt, blame humans. So that's what I think all of the technology is caused by. So the Tic Tacs and everything else, it's all human technology in my opinion. Next, there are no aliens. At least none that we've noticed. And maybe there's a reason for that. Maybe it has to do with, how far light travels in a certain distance and how long it takes life to evolve and yada, yada, yada. Who knows? Maybe everybody will achieve light speed travel all at the same time. And everybody in the whole universe will be like, oh, hey, congratulations. This is a joke for only sharp-minded people. Would you mind seeing a tree grow or a knee grow? Yeah, my knees are good. They've reached terminal size. I don't want them to grow anymore. If my knees grew, that would be unfortunate. It could affect my riding, and we don't want that. Because my riding you don't even know. If you looked at my stats, you'd be like, what is this? I put up a 16 watt per kilo sprint a couple days ago. 16 watts per kilo. All right. Super late stage corporate. I'm talking about it. Super late stage corporate capitalism. We don't have corporate capitalism. We have crony capitalism all day. Otherwise, the central banks wouldn't be deciding the interest rates on the largest blocks of business in the world, international and corporate loans. What you are talking about absolute neoliberalism. Bro, learn your terms. Juto TV, I think nationalizing commodities help people more than improving the market of the oligarchs. Oh, so you're a communist. You're not just a socialist, you're a full-on communist. Nationalizing commodities? I'll pass. Get a clue, Juto. And Juto, if you're running a TV station, I definitely want to tune in for the lulz. I read AI bots will be more common than humans soon. Oh no, not AI bots that can't get out of their own way. Folks, there's no such thing as AI. It's NI, not intelligent. AI, it's made up. It's imaginary intelligence. It's II at the very best. It's not intelligence. Large language models are not intelligent. There is no AI. Like, get it out of your vernacular. AI, not a thing. Next. All that pollution. It's not pollution. The pink sky here in the Lehigh Valley is definitely not from pollution because it's all around. So it's either smoke or dust or both. It could be both. I mean, the air pressure is very, very high right now. So, you know, it's, even though it's not windy right now, when you have no clouds in the sky, that tends to be associated with high pressure zones, anticyclones, and so forth. Pinda 420 says, you got swag, ignore the haters. I know, kid. Like, yo, I got no concerns, man. I learned humility in 1983 when I took up skateboarding, and in 1984 when I took up Taekwondo formally. Like, like you're not gonna, no YouTube comment is gonna like hurt my self-esteem. That's like, I love that. It's cute when people try to like make me mad and like troll me. I take it as a compliment. So I take it as a compliment. This is why I have so many friends in cycling, because we compliment each other by trying to win races. You know, if I specifically attack because you attacked, and I get you, or I fail, I get dropped or whatever, that's a compliment. Retep Yearn says, how old are you most times? How old am I most times? The same age I was when I don't know, but I do know that today is the first day of the rest of my lives. Elaborate that pollution. It's not pollution. It wouldn't be all around. Like, it wouldn't be to the north. It would be toward Allentown from where we're located. But that's not what we see. So it's not consistent with pollution. Like, I know there's a lot of people that are in smog right now, but it's not smog. Anyway, let's get to space weather. We've got, we do have some coronal hole activity about to kick up here. So let me just tilt this a little bit. So we do have a coronal hole high-speed stream about to show up at any moment. That could cause some minor geomagnetic storming. I doubt it'll cause any mid-latitude aurorae. So don't expect to see that. Here is our sunspot number. Sunspot number is still at 90. Oh, all the way down to 52 sunspots. 52 sunspots is the new sunspot number. And if you're spooked of low sunspot numbers, now is your time to get into the bunkers. There's nothing scary about low or high sunspot numbers, though, so that would be silly. 10.7 centimeter radio flux is at 116 solar flux units. And this browser, don't fight me, browser. All right, so we don't see our density spike yet from the high-speed coronal hole wind, but we can expect to see a density spike here at any moment. So at the moment, we're only at 3 protons per cubic centimeter as measured at Lagrangian point 1. And this instrument is the ACE is the active spacecraft right now, as it's about 1 million miles from Earth, outside of the magnetosphere, where we have to measure the solar wind because you can't measure it from inside the magnetosphere. Anyway, solar wind density only under 3 protons per cubic centimeter. Solar wind velocity here lower than average at only 379 kilometers per second. GOES proton flux is flatlined, no SEPs or solar energetic particles to speak of. X-ray flux is low, no surprise with such a low sunspot number. There is the GOES. The GOES 18 and 19. X-ray data for the past 3 days. We got no CMEs on the way. Filaments, we do have filaments. This dense one that looked like it was going to release yesterday has not released, at least not in its entirety. So that one could be a name-worthy candidate there. This filament down here, also this one. So we got a few, good half a dozen on the Earth side of the solar disk. Those could release. It's always delightful when they do. Let's load the newest to see when the next sector boundary crossing is coming. So this is the magnetism of the heliosphere, and we've got Earth well inside a South Pole-oriented magnetic sector. There may be some shifting happening over there by stereo B, which is this little plus sign looking thing here. That's actually a little tiny set. That's stereo B right there, folks. Trailing Earth as we orbit in this direction towards stereo A, which is over here. Now, stereo B has no imaging available on it anymore because it got destroyed by a CME in September 2014, I believe. Maybe 2013, something like that. Stereo A still does have the stuff you need. So here's the coronal hole. And again, we can expect to see a high-speed wind from this. And it's going to last a long time. So when we do get the high-speed portion of this coronal hole wind stream, it's going to last for probably like 36 hours. Expect it to be pretty significant. Again, it could cause some minor geomagnetic storms, like maybe a KP6, KP 6.6, something like that. But I doubt it. So there is a fairly clear path from it to us right now. So expect a very good signal when the density wave does arrive from that coronal hole. It will be, you'll see a big spike in the density at the solar wind. Again, that is measured at Lagrangian point 1, folks, because we can't measure the solar wind from inside the magnetosphere. It has to be measured in outer space, not inner space. Earth's magnetosphere extends to about 12 Earth diameters. And here is our 3 and 4 angstroms. That's ionized helium. We showed you ionized iron. There's ionized helium. And that's about it. So we're going to close this thing out. Thanks for tuning in, folks. Once again, congratulations on realizing the channel exists. I'll have been your host, Dan, a.k.a. Smash-O-Mash, and I am out. Oh, wait, let me get to your comments here. Most people are idiots. I don't think most people are idiots. I think most people are average. They're very wrapped up in their own lives, and they're unable to do a lot of research that they ought to be able to do because they have access to the internet. John Toomey says, we let it happen. We so do let it happen. Bruce says he read that only 30% of people has an internal dialogue. Yeah, like, do you ever, question what you're doing? Do you ever go, is this advancing my goals, or is it declining my goals, or is it neutral to my goals? You ever think stuff like that, folks? Oh. This is why the coaching movement is so big. Like, the U.S. service economy is massive. So, there are more freaking coaches now than there have ever been in the history of mankind, I think. And there needs to be. There are so many people that have to get coached. It's bonkers. I might have to start doing it myself. I may have to get certified. It's not a bad idea. So, yeah. Especially with what's coming, because there's a domain called GoProBike.com that is going to be a thing. It's going to help tie together athletes, promoters, sponsors, insurers, race teams, coaches, and of course, athletes. And not just in cycling, but that's where it's going to start. We're going to be the Swiss Army knife of cycling websites. So, yeah, the theme is already built, the branding is already there. It's just a matter of implementing the vision. And I've got people who are going to implement the vision for me. I just have to get around to it because too busy, underpaid, overworked. There's probably a lot of life besides us, but at the moment, no evidence for it. So extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. And if there's other sentient life out there, I mean, cool, hopefully cool, right? Hopefully cool and not deadly. But at the moment, no good evidence for it, just none. Barb says good sleep. Yeah, good idea. Nocturnal Damane says, Captain Noogie Balls, stay the f off that kind. Do not give anybody a noogie on their balls. That's a terrible idea. All right, why are you deleting messages, Nocturnal Damane? Are you just deleting your own messages here or what? Yo, you got problems. Wrench revoked. By the way, everybody that has a wrench, never delete anybody's comments or you will lose your wrench. Very simple. That pisses me off very much because this is a real free speech channel, not a free speech phony like Elon Musk. A free speech phony who misleads investors also. Never delete a message again. Well, you'll never delete a message again because you'll never have a wrench again. How do I freaking restore the message? There we go. Captain Noogie Balls, you have friends. Come on. Kathy says it will be a total waste of space out there to have nobody else. I know, right? But I don't see anybody. I can't just say because there's a lot of space there must be aliens. That's not how science works, right? Michael Burrow says, hiya. Hiya. I'm freaking delighted, man. I mean, I would not be doing anything else besides this right now. Like, I am so stoked about so many things. It's bonkers. Oh my gosh. Yo. I can't believe people feel the necessity to delete messages on our chat. Like, that is pathetic, Nocturnal. Like, what is wrong with you? Why do you feel that it's your responsibility to silence other people? That's evil, is what that is. Captain Noogie Ball says, I think taking magic mushrooms makes you see aliens and sauces. There's different dimensions. Aliens and sauces. Like what kind of sauce? Hot sauce? Buffalo wing sauce? Aliens and sauces. Oh, like flying saucers, you probably said, but it's voice text, which doesn't function because Android and Apple and Microsoft software are all broken. Broken OSs. My sauce without onions, please. Bruce, you don't like onions? What the hell? What kind of Brazilian doesn't like onions? Good God. How can you live your life without onions, Bruce? For shame. If Gaia the Sage says, if you want to study time travel, just try Salvia Divinorum. Non-linear time is some beautiful trans-dual ontological phenomena. Those are a lot of big words. I'll give you that. I will not endorse any drug or alcohol use. I might engage in drug or alcohol use, but I will not endorse them. I can neither affirm nor deny this claim about Salvia Divinorum. Robert LaFollette says, what about this rock coming into the system? Atlas. So true about the hospital system. Oh my gosh, more deleted messages. Captain Noogie Balls has been in a different dimension from DMT and ketamine combined. Black Rose censored herself. I think it's a her. Don't let me mispronoun you. I apologize if I've misgendered you. Alan Dodger says, get off the crack, Jerry. By the way, any comment that includes the word crack is going to get read aloud. Because crack is just funny. Just calling a drug crack is just hilarious. And I've been laughing about the name of crack ever since crack. I was like, what? Crack? Crack cocaine. If you want to waste your cocaine and make it absorb really fast through your lungs, crack cocaine, a terrible idea. Why inject it when you can freebase and smoke it? Brilliant. Oh my gosh, how many deleted messages are there? I apologize to anybody who had messages deleted. It was obviously my failure on being so lenient with giving out wrenches. Anarcho-communism. I mean, how anarcho-communism? What? You're an anarchist, but you want the government to control the means of production? What the hell are you talking about? Like, don't talk like a nut. I mean, anybody that brings up these ridiculous political dialogues heard one confident-sounding idiot on the internet and now parrots what the one confident-sounding idiot said, I think. I can't believe how many messages got deleted. This is... Jeez. Yeah, sorry about your censored experience, Captain Noogie Balls. I mean, we are the epitome of non-censorship. Any legal speech is encouraged, with the warning that you may make an ass of yourself and we may lambaste you. Like, that's the, you know what I mean? That's the danger of free speech. You'll be held accountable. Accountability, it always comes. So don't be an utter moron. I think you should not. I think not have wrenched him. Yeah, I think I should not have wrenched him. I'm still undeleting messages. It's really pissing me off. I'm not streaming through 5 different platforms. I'm streaming only on YouTube. In fact, we only ever stream on YouTube. We even stopped streaming on Twitch because I have 2 computers that I need to install Linux on, and I've got too many irons in the fire, and it really pisses me off that I gotta waste my time undeleting comments. What an asshole. Thanks, Nocturnal Demone. Asshole. Keep out any and all junky stuff blabbing, thanks. Shut your face. Like, you want to be muted forever on the channel? Keep open in your face. You want to be the only person muted ever on the channel? Idiot. Bruce, I want adults to be able to do whatever the hell they want. Whatever they want. All drugs should be legal. If that's too controversial, unsubscribe the channel. Because you're not an adult. I should have access to whatever the hell I want access to. Period. Oh, you're my favorite astronomer? I mean, I'm your favorite astronomer? Cheers! Yeah, I'm not your average astronomer. Like, I almost majored in that, but I was like, nope, heliophysics is broken. What is the website or software you're using? All of them? Smashomash.com. That's the website or software. You can find links to all of the stuff. You can find links to our Discord chat. If you want to continue the conversation, do it there in the general chat. Smash News Network, least busted name in news. Bring in space weather, real time, into the mainstream. Deal with it like space travel's coming to your average family vacation. In less than 5 years, you'll be able to go to space for less than 5 figures. Mark my words, it's part of the reason space weather is important. Shout out to Tamitha Scove. And I'm out. See you next time here at the Smash News Network. Least busted name of news. Don't forget to press share. And may that solar wind be at your back.